First, I want to say for anybody that is younger than me, which is a good percentage of the planet at this point, because as you know, you get older, there are less of y'all. But um, college is intended to demonstrate that you can complete a task. I can't say I remember a whole lot about college. I do remember a couple of teachers that were really impressive to me that I learned a lot from. But it's intended for you to socialize responsibly and to complete a task. It's intended to almost put you in like a gauntlet of like, let me give you all these things and all this freedom, and you figure out how to get this thing done. And like, if you do, there are benefits for that. There are a lot of doors that open just simply because you have a degree. That may change as time goes on because we've got all this like new technology, but like we're still in the window where having a degree really serves people really well. And I also want to say that like I don't think you have to pay hundreds of millions of dollars for that degree. I think if you make the decision that you want to go to a really prestigious school like a Harvard or a Yale or Duke or whoever, recognize that the intention there is for you to not just have a degree but to also build an expansive network that you can continue to tap into for the rest of your life. You're paying for the network the same way people pay for followers. So I see my education as a tool. I'm glad I have it. It's been beneficial for me. I went to a tier two school. I went to Wayne State University in Detroit. I went to a private school for my graduate education. I got my master's in organizational leadership from Siena Heights University, which is also in Michigan, Adrian, Michigan. So I didn't go to big fancy schools, but I was intentional about wanting to learn what I wanted to learn, and I did that, and I completed the task. And completing the task opens a lot of doors. And so I just want to reframe education. Like, we put a lot of weight on what you want to be when you grow up. And don't nobody know. Don't
Yeah,
nobody
yeah,
know.
yeah.
But like, forget all that. Like, you'll figure out what you want to be by doing things. Just look at this as a thing you need to get done, especially if you're not crystal clear about what you want to do. So I feel good about it. Now, the flip side to that is I also think like your education is only so valuable as your willingness to experiment. So like I've been willing to like try things and adventure and oh, I hate that. Let me do something else. Let me explore. I think you have to be willing to live life as well to make use of whatever education you have because like your education out in the world is always going to be more valuable. It's practical knowledge versus what you're getting in school, which is like, you know, it's ideas and theoretical mostly and storytelling.
That's how you answer that question. Go ahead, Amber. Go ahead. Thank you. I
You're welcome.
appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Greatly
I said I
appreciate it.
was gonna be authentic. Here we are.
And that's all we asked for. This is the makers of Amber Cabral, y'all.
Add a little sugar, sugar. I need chocolate. A great big expression of happiness. Boy, you couldn't miss with a dozen roses. Such would astound you. The joy of children laughing around you. These are the makings of you. It is true. The makings of you. These are the makings of you.
What's going on, beautiful people? It's your host, Drake, B. Drake with Everythang Culture, the podcast for all cultures, a podcast with a purpose. And this morning, this afternoon, this evening, whenever you're listening to this conversation and this episode, we have the pleasure of introducing you all to Amber Cabral. How are we doing, Amber?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am superb. We've seen better days. Let me tell you.
Superb is a good answer though. I like that. I'm
Man,
superb. I might use that.
but you please do so. Me and my, friends, we use perb as a short of superb. And
Oh, okay.
y'all have to understand, Amber Cabral is an award-winning inclusion strategist, certified coach, TED speaker, and author of Allies and Advocates, and say more about that. She is also one of the contributors and authors to an upcoming book of Leadership Unlocked that Everything Culture was able to be a part of as far as the Audible series. But we're so happy to have Amber here today for the makings of Amber Cabral. And I
Yay.
know, we put the years behind this. But
It's so funny because like when someone introduces you, you're reminded of all the things that you've like quote unquote done, and you're like, oh yeah, that's dope. I did do that. So
and
I appreciate that moment for
and you
real.
should be reminded of it. You know,
Yeah.
we are thankful to have you here. I was able to converse with Amber while doing an Audible book for Leadership Unlocked by Jesse Rhodes Jr. And I was like, man, I would love to hear more, learn more about her experience, her upbringing, backgrounds, and traditions. And we're gonna do that here. Y'all, if you're new here, welcome. If you're not, you know, this is gonna be a treat. So, Amber, are you ready?
I believe I'm ready.
Okay, you got this.
That's
Ain't no wrong, ain't no wrong answers because
a good thing. It's about me. So
it's
I should
about
be all
you.
right.
Ain't nobody else can tell us about you better than you, right?
There's the facts.
Okay, okay, okay. So let's just get right back into the first question that is, Amber, how would you describe yourself?
Authentic. I
Mm,
know that's a one word answer, but that's the word. Like I I find it deeply important to show up as my whole self as much as possible. And I feel like that's something that's been true for me most of my life, but I've obviously had points where I had to learn what authentic looked like in a specific space. So like authentic in a corporate space as an example, or authentic in my, college career. Like I've had to figure out what that looks like, but I think if you were to take a poll of 50 of my friends and ask them to describe me, that would be the word that will bubble up like the most consistently.
authentic.
Hmm.
Okay.
Every time, all the time.
We love it. Okay. We
Yeah,
appreciate
listen,
authenticity over here.
it's too much labor to not be real.
Hey, Amber, we can't start this early into the deep conversations we can have, okay? We will get to the next question,
Okay, next
but I
question.
love it. What cultures do you represent?
Oh, both my parents are black. My mom and my dad are both black. They both are from Detroit. Their parents are both from different parts of Alabama. So
Mm,
that whole great migration thing is definitely, part of my background. Both of my parents are also very light-skinned folks like me. And so I often have to remind people, although I will say Detroiters don't seem to be confused about this, but that like black comes in all shades because I do get
hmm.
asked very often, like, what are you mixed with? And I'm like, my mom and my dad. Like, I don't understand what you mean. But yeah, no,
Black and
black
more
woman.
black.
Yeah, exactly. Black woman. And I do have some interesting history around, just identity wise. Like, there was definitely some passing because we are very light that happened
Mm,
in my history that I've learned about and name changing to do that. So my last name, Cabral, is actually a name that was adopted so that some members of my family could pass.
mm.
And my last name should actually be McCoy, which tells you we were owned by some Irish people. So yeah, but in terms of how I identify, I'm, regular black girl from Detroit.
Okay, okay. Now, I'm from the South, and I know people get tired of me saying this all the time. This is a question that I struggle with because of my Southern culture.
Okay,
Do you mind sharing your age with us?
for sure. I don't mind. I'm 43.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you so much. I said it last, hey, every time I feel like my
Asking a woman her age.
man, I be getting like
Why
anxiety
do
be
you, why
kicking
do you
in.
ask though? What is the significance of asking age?
So people that may relate to you because of the age, you know, I try to get
Mm,
that involved because that's a culture as well.
hmm.
Looking like,
Age is a culture,
it,
for sure.
it everything culture. Okay, that's the
Facts.
thing, you
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah, I was born in 1981, just a
okay.
couple years before hip hop.
So that we talking about it. So, you know, millennial, what we considered.
Well,
What
it's
personally?
debatable. So by some measures, I'm a Gen X, and by some, I'm a millennial. So I'm either an elder millennial or a baby Gen X. We call it an Xennial. I sit right there on that little
Yeah,
line.
but I definitely give you a millennial. But you know, just detour just a little bit. I was raised by I think even though when you're born it's a big deal, but I think
Mhm.
who raised you is the biggest.
Yeah.
Okay. So me being raised I was raised by a boomer, um, a Gen Xer, and what's the one, a volunteer? Is that what they call? The ones
Oh,
before the
like
the
and older
boomers.
before that, the silent generation?
Silent generation. Well, I heard I'm being called the silent, and I'm hearing them called volunteers.
Oh,
So
okay.
I was raised by all of those, and I'm just a little
Oh yeah. Oh, so.
all of that. Yes, but thank you for
Oh,
sharing.
so.
Next question: how would you describe your childhood and upbringing?
Oh, wow. I don't really remember a whole lot. I will say I was always seen as smart. I had a really complicated relationship with both of my parents for very different reasons. My mother and my father were never married, but I was raised primarily by my mother. Um, so yeah, I mean it's single parenthood, and my mother had me at like 24. So like I remember getting to be 24 and being like, oh, I wouldn't want no kids right now. So like, you just kind of get to a point where you realize like, oh, you was figuring it out too hard, so it's like that situation.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, I grew up, pretty I will say this, my mother was intentional about making sure that I got put in position to get access to opportunities that she didn't have, even though I think there were times where she maybe envied that. First time, first one to go to college, first one to graduate from college, first one to go to grad school, first one to graduate from grad school. I'm not sure if there's been any others. We are also a very small family, so there's also not like a lot of family members, to have done and accomplished things. But yeah, I was motivated to do a good job. I was also raised in a way where like, I was very much a tomboy. I dressed in boys' clothing. I feel like my mother almost intentionally tried to diminish um my own awareness of my appearance to a degree, just because she did not want me to get caught up in boys.
Mm.
Um, but the hormones gonna do what they're gonna do. So there
They
was
go.
definitely
They
a boys
definitely gonna do what they
period.
gonna do.
There was definitely a boys period.
You cannot
But
stop nature. Let me tell you that.
listen, you can't. You cannot do that. So, but yeah, it was, I mean, it was complicated. My upbringing was complicated. I was definitely loved and cared about. I was not necessarily loved and cared about in the way that I would imagine people picture that in their brains. I was definitely supported. I definitely had a lot of opportunities given to me, but it was still a lot of poverty. It was
Mm,
still, rubbing nickels together to figure out how to get to the next, location. So that would be my upbringing. I was a very serious child, which has made me a pretty serious adult. I'm very silly, but I don't necessarily show that part as often. But yeah, it was about taking care of business, and that has definitely stuck with me.
absolutely understand. Thank you again for
Good
sharing with
question.
us. Thank you. Thank you. You answered one of our future questions, but I'm gonna still hold it and see how it comes
Okay.
across. You
Okay.
doing a great job, by the way.
Okay.
I may have missed it, but do you have any siblings?
I do. I have a little sister. Little is an exaggeration. She will always be little to me. She's 10 years younger than me. So, yeah, I have a younger sister.
Okay, okay. Do you feel like the oldest? The
So the
that is a
complicated
gap
part,
too.
yeah, it is a gap. I actually adopted my sister legally too. So I was like her parent for a while. So for a long time, I was her mom. And,
Wow,
I mean, she never called me that, but like in terms of like responsibility. And then, eventually, now that we are older women, we are at our sister relationship, which is really nice because I had a sister, but I was very protective and like parental for a very long time. And now we're at the place where I can be her sister and she can be my sister, which is really, really great.
that's beautiful. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Oh, I might have to holler at her too now. I'm gonna have to have a conversation. That's a dynamic I haven't thought about. Okay,
Mm.
okay. How do you feel about your education so far in life?
Do you mean that in a formal way, like my formal education?
I mean, that any way you may receive it, and that's with every question I have too.
Okay. All right. Well, so I'll answer two ways then. First, I want to say for anybody that is younger than me, which is a good percentage of the planet at this point, because as you know, you get older, there are less of y'all.
Well,
But um, college is intended to demonstrate that you can complete a task. I can't say I remember a whole lot about college. I do remember a couple of teachers that were really impressive to me that I learned a lot from. But it's intended for you to socialize responsibly and to complete a task. It's intended to almost put you in like a gauntlet of like, let me give you all these things and all this freedom, and you figure out how to get this thing done. And like, if you do, there are benefits for that. There are a lot of doors that open just simply because you have a degree. That may change as time goes on because we've got all this like new technology, but like we're still in the window where having a degree really serves people really well. And I also want to say that like I don't think you have to pay hundreds of millions of dollars for that degree. I think if you make the decision that you want to go to a really prestigious school like a Harvard or a Yale, or Duke or whoever, recognize that the intention there is for you to not just have a degree but to also build an expansive network that you can continue to tap into for the rest of your life. You're paying for the network the same way people pay for followers. So I see my education as a tool. I'm glad I have it. It's been beneficial for me. I went to a tier 2 school. I went to Wayne State University in Detroit. I went to a private school for my graduate education. I got my master's in organizational leadership from Siena Heights University, which is also in Michigan, Adrian, Michigan. So I didn't go to big fancy schools, but I was intentional about wanting to learn what I wanted to learn, and I did that, and I completed the task. And completing the task opens a lot of doors. And so I just want to reframe education. Like, we put a lot of weight on what you want to be when you grow up, and don't nobody know. Don't
Yeah,
nobody
yeah,
know.
yeah.
But like, forget all that. Like, you'll figure out what you want to be by doing things. Just look at this as a thing you need to get done, especially if you're not crystal clear about what you want to do. So I feel good about it. Now, the flip side to that is I also think like your education is only so valuable as your willingness to experiment. So like I've been willing to like try things and adventure and oh, I hate that. Let me do something else. Let me explore. I think you have to be willing to live life as well to make use of whatever education you have because like your education out in the world is always going to be more valuable. It's practical knowledge versus what you're getting in school, which is like, you know, it's ideas and theoretical mostly and storytelling.
That's how you answer that question. Go ahead, Amber. Go ahead. Thank you. I
You're welcome.
appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Greatly
I said
appreciate
I
it.
was gonna be authentic. Here we are.
And that's all we ask for. This is the makers of Amber Cabral, y'all. There's that. I hope y'all know that. Okay. Tune in, tap in, share, like, and comment. Let us know how you feel. But this is exactly why we ask these questions. And,
Yeah.
the, and once again, with all the questions, you may ask me numerous times, what do you mean by that? However you think of it.
However you think I mean it.
Whatever you receive. Okay.
Okay. Okay. I'm here for it.
Okay. So you kind of shared a bit with us earlier about responsibilities.
Hmm.
But what was your first sense of responsibility?
Oh. Mm. My first sense of responsibility. Man, that takes me through a series of memories. So like just as a really young child, like I said, I was an only child for 10 years. Um, I was my father's only child his entire life, but my mother, my sister came along a decade later. I think but I think responsibility was really early. Like, I think my mother's solution to being a single parent was raising a very independent child. Like, her intention was like, you get up in the morning and brush your hair. You know what I'm saying? Like, you figure out what you're wearing. Here are the guidelines. Go, So, like, I just remember being very responsible for like getting myself together in the morning and like being on time with it. And like, I can even remember her being very frustrated with me not doing it well. Like, even
Mm,
at ages where I wasn't probably supposed to be able to do it well. I could, and gosh, makes my mom sound terrible. I mean, let me be very clear. My mother has been terrible at some very specific points in my life. We're at a point now where she's not terrible and, whatever, and I've been honest with her about that. But I remember walking into school. I went to a private school called Sleepy Hollow. Anybody in Detroit, around my age is familiar with Sleepy Hollow. Later called Jackson Randolph School of Achievement. It was a private school. It was predominantly black. It was, there was a lot of controversy. Whole nother story for another time. Anyway, I
I'm
remember walking
interested
into
though.
school. Yeah, it is interesting. So, but I remember walking into the school and my art teacher at the time, said, "Hey, good morning." And it was early because my mother would drop me off really early and she had to be in downtown Detroit really early to do her job. So I walked in. He says, "Good morning, how are you?" And I burst into tears. And I don't even remember exactly what the encounter was with my mom that morning, but we had some friction about, I used to have long, 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 real thick hair. It was probably about that. And so
Mm,
I come in and I burst into tears. And like what made me just kind of recall that memory was like I at that moment realized that the amount of responsibility that I had for myself was just unique. It wasn't what most kids had. And I could tell that by the other adults that were around me that were like almost like trying to make space for me to be a kid. And, I remember his reaction to me being like, it's okay. Like, let me take you over here so you can do a kid thing, like color or whatever. And I'm like bent out of shape about this, like super serious, not really, but situation that happened in my house. And so
Mhm.
I think responsibility was something I got really early. And again, because my mother's solution to, okay, if I've got to be a single parent, you got to do your part. So I had responsibility early.
Yeah, yeah. Now, when I say I understand, I'm not
Yeah.
saying that just to continue to.
Yeah.
Once again, we could dip out. Once again, that's another. We're not going to divert, but we keep on because, baby,
Is
when I say I
another discussion.
understand,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
And thank you for sharing and being transparent and authentic with us as well,
Sure.
Amber, for
Always.
real.
Absolutely.
So I know we talking about the first sense of responsibility. What was your first job? What was your first taxable position?
Okay, taxable, because I'm like, I had a few jobs now. But first position where I got a W-2, I went to the library around the corner from my house.
Mm.
Yep, I was in high school and I was at the library a lot all the time anyway. And so I was like, oh, I can get a job at the library. So that's what I did. I went and applied for to be a library aide. That was my first paying job.
Go ahead now. Okay, okay, we love it. We love it. How were you disciplined growing up?
Yes.
Okay.
The answer is yes.
Okay.
Like, how? Pick a how. I was yelled at. I was, grounded. I was definitely, hit in ways that would be unacceptable for today's children. Um, yeah, I went to school with black eyes and all that shit. Like, yeah, no, I was disciplined, period. However you'd like to frame that. It happened.
Loud and clear. Got you.
Yeah,
Got you. Got you. And once again, thank you, Amber, for being with us and for the
sure.
makings of
You
you.
gotta warn people, let them know they need to have gone through their little therapy and
I
healing process.
I I I,
Up here.
I thought I said it before. I was like, so people.
You
I'm
are
telling
unhealed. You
you, it
are
was
ill prepared for these questions.
all of us. That's why I say all of us. I tell people a lot of people say you come on his show, he probably gonna make you cry. I'm like, I'm not making
Yeah.
you do nothing. It's
Yeah,
something that you
but you
may.
asking questions that dredge up some stuff that make people go like, oh, I hadn't
It's
thought about that. Because we
that's
suppress.
exactly. Trust me. When I had one thing, this is a needed. I would say these
Yeah,
conversations are needed
for
for us to
sure.
get to know one another and for us to get to know each
Sure.
other.
For
And that's why
sure.
it's the makings of you.
Right.
You'll be surprised. Like once again, we ain't talking about me. Once again, but when I say even with myself, I had some people interview me, even though I knew the questions
Yeah.
completely. Boy, I don't know why when somebody else and when it came up, I like, mm, I'm
Yeah.
probably gonna cry right here.
It'll
Okay,
pull you out.
but that's
It'll
what's
pull you
needed.
out. Let me make sure
No,
my tissue is available. Let me sure I'm prepared appropriately
no,
for
and,
tears.
I'm sorry, I should have said it again earlier. Because but that's what I
Okay. Of
think we need as human beings, as people on this earth. And thank you for sharing yourself with us again.
course. Happy to do so.
So going into our following question is, what were and what are your beliefs?
Oh wow. I believe you can have whatever you want. I believe that we should live our dimensions. Those are both quotes that exist in the opening pages of both of my books.
Mm.
I believe those intently. I don't think you have to live the life you've been told to. Um, if, people are looking for a very specific spiritual map, I don't know that I fall very neatly into anything. I could be described as a Christian. I also, by, a very well practiced Christian, might not be considered such. Um, I believe in a lot of things. I believe in myself. I believe in, the broader perspective for me is like take care of your well-being, do the best you can with your physical container. I have done a terrible job in my life of ignoring my container. I am actively trying to change the relationship I have with my own body.
Mm,
Um, but I believe if you take care of your container and you take care of your well-being and you take care of your mind, all the other stuff is kind of like extra. Like, for sure, if you are a person who has a strong faith in God, I definitely pray. I hesitate to describe myself as a person who has a strong faith in God because I also, strongly believe in science. So like there's that. Um, but yeah, I that's a really good question because belief is so broad.
mhm.
And when I consider what I think belief needs to be for me in my life, it has to be permission. For some people, belief needs to be restrictive. And that's not my experience. I need belief for me to feel like opportunity, access, permission, gateways, like all of that. And so I tend to lean on things that support that approach.
Love it. Love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And since we was you lead into the question, I'm gonna start jumping around the questions we have right now. Since you was
Okay.
talking about taking care of your container, how do you relax? How do you take care of Amber?
Oh, I listen. So I'm on a journey right now. I decided for 2025, I refuse. I am not participating in stress and anxiety. I have lived the majority of my life with both. And so I have just made a decision. It's so funny. I told a gentleman I was at the bar with my boyfriend, and he's our bartender that whenever we go, and I was like, he's like, "Do you do resolutions?" I'm like, "Not really, but I did decide I'm giving up stress and anxiety for 2025." And he was like, "I don't think that's how that works." And I was like, "And that's the problem because." Until you make the decision, it will not work for you. So yeah, I made the decision. No more stress, no more anxiety. So how I relax, I love a good bath, honey. Ooh, let me just get in a good, nice, long bath. And now I don't have no hair. I gotta worry about sweating out. I'm gonna sit in there I'm gonna let the water get cold and run it again.
Shout out to
So
Dr. Teals. This is not a well, this is not
if
a
you'd like to
sponsored
sponsor though, if
video.
you'd like to sponsor, we would love to have you.
We absolutely. I would do a whole segment, me in the bathtub, camera at a certain angle.
Okay,
I would
listen.
bring back the real run, okay?
You're right. So listen, like real talk, yes. So like I love a bath. I also believe though that you have to do some intentional things, mentally. So like, I'm pro box breathing, I'm pro, meditation, I am pro giving yourself permission. I am pro beginner's mind, approaching things like they're brand new to you and seeing what comes up. Like I'm mindfulness certified. So I believe in taking advantage of all the mindfulness tools and techniques and processes to make yourself feel good. So yeah, like I relax. I also play with Legos. I'm a big Lego enthusiast. I'm gonna put Legos together. That's a great recharge for me. Um, so yeah, like I'm looking for things that give me a good mind body connection without being too labor intensive. I like calligraphy. That's another one.
Mm.
So yeah, those are my things.
That's dope. I like all of those. The baths. I used to be big in Legos until I started seeing the
Okay,
price of these Legos, and I'm
they
like,
high.
boy,
They
I
high.
like
They high.
childhood. What happened?
Listen, my last set was $3.99, and I was like, okay, okay.
Well,
Thankfully, I got a couple gift cards from my team this Christmas to help kind of offset my habit.
oh
But
my God. What set was it? You mind
it's
sharing?
the Milky Way galaxy. That's my next set. So the last set I just did was I did the Pharrell rocket ship.
Has that movie
That
came
was
out yet?
I don't know if the movie's out. I'm not, I don't do
Oh,
TV
you,
thing.
you did say that. You did say
Yeah, I
that.
don't know. I can't keep up with what people putting on the television. But I did the rocket ship and I loved it. It could have been a little harder. And then I did there's a typewriter. I think it's sold out though. I don't think you can find it.
Mm.
You can find it on like, there's auxiliary sites besides Lego that you can buy
Yeah, yeah,
stuff. And so they probably have it. So I did the typewriter. The typewriter was really, really good.
yeah.
Um,
Okay.
but
Okay.
yeah, so Milky Way Galaxy is my next one.
I'm definitely intrigued. I'm definitely
Hmm.
intrigued. Man. So I know you say you don't watch a lot of television and stuff like that
I
nature,
do
but
not.
this is one of the questions that we have, and
Okay.
we're going to ask it. If you could recommend a book, a
Mm.
television series, and a movie, what would you recommend?
Mm. Okay. If I could recommend a book, I read a lot of fiction. I'm not going to give you a fiction book though. I'm going to give you a children's book. It's called The Velveteen Rabbit. The Velveteen Rabbit. There's some good life lessons out of The Velveteen Rabbit. So I would say, it's a simple read, you know, get The Velveteen Rabbit. It's a good children's book.
By Marjorie
Um,
Williams.
yeah, and unfortunately, I'm going to tell you, unfortunately, I do not know anything. We've been uncovering very seedy things about authors. If there's something wrong with her, I don't know. So forgive me. But The Velveteen Rabbit would be my book.
Can't,
Um,
can't look at Willy Wonka the same way ever.
I mean, I'm saying, like, I'm just like, y'all, I can't with the childhood heroes falling apart. So I don't know if she's done something, I don't know yet. Um, movie. I like The Nightmare Before Christmas. Okay, so let me
Mm,
tell you why. So if I were to make a movie recommendation, it would probably be, I also think Disney's Coco, but I'm not gonna put you
that
in a
is a
Disney
good one.
thing that way. I'll put you in it another way because they're all still connected.
Hmm.
Um, Coco's really good, but I like The Nightmare Before Christmas because it is a movie to me that gives you a little bit of fear, a little bit of fun. It's animated, but it's like also like claymation. It's like it has a lot of little things to it. It's both a Christmas movie and a Halloween movie. It's
Hmm.
got good music. The villain is amazing. He's like literally just a bag of bugs, which is like super great. And I am a person who generally does not enjoy like musicals. Like I'm also not a person who tends to enjoy the music in movies. Um, but I will watch The Nightmare Before Christmas for sure at least 3 or 4 times a year. Like, so that would be my movie. I know y'all probably expect it. I told y'all I was silly, the playful thing is in there. Okay, you said a book, a movie, and what was it?
A television series.
A television series. Ooh, now that's hard.
You got it though.
Mm. Man, that's tough because there's some good television series that I have really enjoyed. Okay, I'm gonna say Breaking Bad. I know some people have a hate for that. Breaking Bad was
So
good.
good.
It was
So good.
good. It was so good because it was a coming of age story for an older man. Like we don't think about it that way, but that's really what it was. Like this man really was holding himself in and
Yep.
together and like, and you literally get to see him become a whole human and it's complicated but also like really 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 good, so I like that. I'm gonna give you an extra one because I don't watch a lot of television, but when I do watch it, it's you know um Little Fires Everywhere.
I haven't
Little
heard of that
fires,
one.
little fires everywhere. I'm gonna just say this. It could really be titled Little Microaggressions Everywhere. You are literally gonna be watching, like, are you kidding me? Like, what did she just say to her black boyfriend? Like, it's got Kerry Washington in it and gosh, what's that other woman's name?
Um,
Reese Witherspoon's in it.
yeah, that's how I see.
Um, yeah, so
Lexi
it's
Underwood,
yeah, I don't know who that is for real, but yeah.
Tiffany Boone. Oh.
It is a you should watch Little Fires Everywhere. Very, very good television.
Okay, okay, okay. And it's a TV miniseries too, based off of.
Yeah, it's small, it's digestible.
Okay, I like that. I like that even more.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah.
So we have the book was hold on, The Velveteen Rabbit.
17 Rabbit,
The film was hold on. Goodness.
Nightmare,
The Night
Nightmare,
Before Christmas. I said love that,
Nightmare
love
Before
that.
Christmas. Yeah.
And we have Little Fires Everywhere and Breaking Bad. Okay.
Yes.
Have you watched Snowfall?
I started it, but
You must have stopped early.
I stopped at like the start of season 3. I love Gail Bean. I'm a big fan
Me
of
too,
Gail.
man,
I
man,
love
man.
her. I love her. I love her. I will watch her
That's
in anything she is in for real. Like I love her, like with my whole heart. Okay, and she's actually friends with a friend of mine, and like we like on the verge of being friends, and
yeah,
I'm all
just
excited about it because I like her. I like
th-
her a lot.
I
Like
look
her a
forward to
lot.
having her in this. I want to have her on here in the future. Okay. Let me tell you that.
That one, good stock. Okay,
Yeah.
I like her, but I really struggle with some of the bad accents, and so I stopped watching.
Understood.
Mhm.
Understood.
Yeah,
Understood.
sometimes when you're British, that West Side accent could be a little hard for you.
Oh, most definitely. I think the
Mhm.
best people can do it is probably people from the South. And
I can see
being
that.
that great migration, a
I can
lot of
see
people
that.
in the area
Correct.
is from Texas
Yeah,
and all
that's
that.
correct. Exactly. Agreed.
We'll talk about that later too. Don't forget it's
Yeah.
everything culture, baby. But this is the makings of you. Actually, this is the
Yeah.
makings of Amber Cabral here with
Correct.
everything culture. How you feeling, Amber?
I'm okay. I'm doing great.
Okay, okay, okay. So going to our next question.
Mhm.
Man, have if you can invite three people to dinner, it could be any three people, who would you invite?
Do they all have to be at dinner at the same time?
No,
It's a whole group dinner, or I'm
no.
dinnering individually?
However you want to do it.
Okay.
Three people, it could be individually. You get to have a conversation. I don't even have to go elaborate for you what I feel like, but use your
hmm
imagination.
hmm Okay. Three people that I would like to have dinner with. Hmm. This is gonna be a little controversial.
Mm. We are here for it.
I mm, I'm processing. Hold on.
Take your time.
I If I could set the parameters and he could not just get up and leave.
This is the makings of Amber Cabral.
Yeah. So it's
And I could have said they
my
have to
friend.
be there for it.
Yeah,
They
they gotta
have
be
to
you gotta be there
converse
for
with
the
you.
you have to be
Yeah.
here for all seven courses.
Yeah, there you
Okay.
go.
Um, I would appreciate a conversation with Elon Musk. Not
Mm.
because I am interested in extracting, but because I am interested in pouring in. Um, I have some perspective that I think is worth hearing that I'm not sure he has heard delivered the way I would. And given the amount of influence that he has and arrogance that he yields it with, I would appreciate the opportunity to be able to impart some perspective. That would be my first.
I like it.
My second is deceased. But I would love to have had the opportunity to have and I went back and forth with this person and another woman, but who is living. But Nina Simone, definitely is a person who I feel a lot of just kinship with. I feel like she, the activism in her soul and the beauty of her talent, just the dichotomy of that for me was just very yummy. Um, and her story is crazy interesting, and she was gonna do what she wanted to do. One thing
Have
about Nicki
whatever she
Simone,
wanted.
she was gonna do what she wanted to do, and I like that and I respect it a lot. So yeah, I would love to have dinner with Nina Simone. Um, hmm, third, third, hmm. All right, I'm gonna pick somebody that I don't expect that I will have the opportunity to have a meal with versus someone who I think it is accessible to me. Um, because there are a couple that are coming to mind, but I'm like, I think I could make that happen if I really wanted to make it happen. But my third would probably be Malcolm Gladwell for a
Hmm.
couple reasons. I think that he has been a thinker. I think he has been willing to share his ideas, however loud and wrong. Um, well before that was a popular thing to do. And he is now at a place where I can see him recognizing the error in his previous perspectives and making an effort to try to like correct for that. And I would enjoy having conversation with someone who recognizes the error of their ways publicly. As a person
Hmm.
who like there are lots of ways that I have to live my life a bit publicly just because of what I do for work. Like I would like to have a conversation with someone who can recognize like, ooh, I should have did that.
Hmm.
And now can admit it and talk about it and navigate that. That feels like it would be really good conversation for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are my three. That
I
was
shot.
tough. That was a hard question. I wanted to be like Stevie Wonder because he's dope. And then also I went to Sade. I had a ton of music people because like also like Andre 3000. Like yeah, I have a ton of music people. I'm like, can we just have a big dinner of all the music people and then these other folks
Hey,
independently.
I like it. I like it. No,
I would
seriously.
have stuck Renee Brown in there. Like yeah, I got a good yeah. There's a lot of folks I would love to have over a meal.
And once again, the conversation, the food is one thing,
Yeah.
but that conversation is so
That's
much
why I was
better.
like, let me be intentional about like what I want to do with these discussions.
No, no, no. I
So I
love
tried to
it.
pick a discussion where I can teach, a discussion where I can learn, and a discussion where I could connect. That was my thought process with those.
And that's beautiful. And it's so unique that you say Elon Musk. I will listen to a comedian through TikTok. Dang, I cannot. I want to say it's maybe. Oh, I don't want to mess up his name, but I'm gonna get it later. But he mentioned, and I've had this feeling, but he feels for Elon because he knows when someone doesn't have a friend, like a true,
No,
authentic friend, a
I don't think the
connection.
man really got a friend. I don't think he's ever had a real, honest, genuine conversation. And so I
Hmm.
think he's like legit walking around in fantasy world, like a little bit disconnected from the realities of the dangers that he can create. And I'm like,
Hmm.
I'd like to have a conversation with you that you have to participate in. That would be nice.
But it kind of goes back into that conversation we was having earlier. When you have this, it's
Mm-hmm.
in the pursuit of,
Correct.
people may
Correct.
admire you. People may have a thought because you have this, but if you don't have this, how would people treat you? That's what I
Exactly.
think people chase for. But I love your three. Okay. And the rest we can get into as well too. But
Right.
let's see. What has been an impactful moment in your life?
There have been several, just one. Um, I mean, probably the most, this last several years has been a lot. I lost my dad. I had
Our
hysterectomy.
condolences.
Thank you. I cried through my first TED Talk before I finally was able to record it. Like, yeah, I mean, like, impact is everywhere. That's all the
Mhm.
time. So I don't know which one to give you, but yeah, all of those,
We'll
losing a
receive them.
parent, losing a parent as a single child, like that, my dad didn't have any other kids. Very special, complicated process. Grieving is one thing, grieving alone,
Mm.
a little bit different. So yeah, that was super impactful. Having a hysterectomy was impactful in a good way though, because everybody was like, "Oh my God, you can't have kids." I was like, "I wasn't having no damn kids anyway." So kind of happy to be free of that. But like, just recognizing all the things in my body that were like in chaos because like I had this organ that wasn't working well for me. And being rid of that was great. And then um I cried through my TED Talk because my father died 2 weeks before I was supposed to give it, and I thought I was just gonna get up and give my talk.
Mm.
I got up on the stage, and that was not what was happening. I cried through the rehearsal, and my boyfriend talks about it to this day because he's like, just the kind of person you are is like different. Like anyone else would have been like, yo, I can't do this. I'm grieving my father. He's like, not only did you still go. You got there, could not stop crying, still went on stage and went through your whole talk in tears. Like people don't do that. Like it's just
Right.
not a thing. But yeah,
Resilient.
I'm resilient. I'm definitely resilient. I teach resilience actually to a lot of the organizations that I support. But yeah, like it's I was just like, yo, I'm not gonna get all the way here and risk the possibility that I don't get to do my talk. Like if nothing else, y'all gonna know that I wrote my talk
Yeah.
and that I had it. And I just can't get it out my body right now. And so, yeah, I gave my whole talk 10 full, I mean, it had to be the most awkward moment in that place ever because I cried through the whole thing. But I went through and read my whole talk, and then, they were like, okay, so look, clearly there's something going on. You want to try to do it another time. But, TED is real fickle. You never know if there'll be another time. Thankfully, I was able to do my talk a year later. But yeah, that was a big, big, big moment where I was just like processing. So yeah, there's a lot of those. So good
And,
question.
and you may not need it, but we are proud of you.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
job with that, for
you. I
real.
appreciate that. I
Uh,
always need it. So
you
thank you for
know,
that.
so you never know. We just want to make sure, if it's welcomed or not, people
Yeah.
are proud of you. Right? We
Thank you.
know how much stepping up on a stage such as that,
Mhm.
especially with the experiences that you're having, all within almost simultaneously happening, that's a
Yeah.
big deal.
It was a
And that's
lot.
why I say first thing popping with resiliency,
Yeah.
making it happen.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Oh no, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, Amber,
Mhm.
what is your theme song?
Rihanna, bitch better have my money.
Mm.
That's always it. Always. And sometimes it's not actual cash. Okay? Sometimes it's not actual cash. But you need to have what you owe me timely, because I'm coming to get it.
Already. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. How do you define joy?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, it's like it's kind of it's a liberty feeling. It's like, having the freedom to be unattached from anything that is unhappy, you
Mm.
know? So, I find joy in, like, playing bubble guns with my boyfriend's daughter, or, I find joy in watching the sunset. I find joy in, stumbling across a really ridiculous, TikTok or reel. Like, it is having a moment where you can kind of just be free of, like, what's heavy,
Yeah.
and just, like, ride the happiness for a moment. That's joy for me. So, shit, I get a lot of ways. Skydiving could be joyful. Um, Not for those of us who are afraid, but yeah.
Baby.
You like, yeah, I
Woo.
ain't doing that.
Pass out.
But yeah, like, I think joy is the ability to separate yourself from the thing that can be obstructive to it, and literally just enjoy happiness.
Okay. No, we love it. We love it. Okay. You're doing great.
Okay.
We got a few more. I know we got things to do.
Okay.
We got a few more. But,
Okay.
but I know how this can go, but I want
Good.
to make
This
sure
is
you hit the
good. I'm
points
with
for the
it. I'm on
people.
the track. We here.
Okay. Okay. If you were in a zombie apocalypse,
Hmm.
a dystopian future, whatever you want to call it,
Okay.
and you had to bring five people with you to
Hmm.
be a part of your team, who are the five people that you'll bring with you?
Ooh, you have no idea what can of worms you have opened up for me with this question.
I usually shift that question around, but I feel like for you, this is the good one for you. Okay.
Yeah, so okay, so let me give you a little bit of context for this. So I am Hogan certified. I have also taken the Hogan assessment. It is
Mm,
a fairly expensive. It's about $500 to take the Hogan assessment. So think of, like, people go online and do, like, your personalities, blah, blah, blah. And, sometimes you can do those for free or pay a $20, $30 fee. This is a little bit of a more robust assessment, and it's used in a lot of executive roles,
mm,
right? There's a thing on the Hogan assessment called an adjustment score. My adjustment score is very low. So the scoring goes from 1 to 100. I am a 4. I have a very low adjustment score. When you
that a
look
low
inside,
positive?
nothing's really bad. As we like to say
Okay.
with personality, it is who you are. It isn't necessarily
Yeah.
bad or good. Okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
a low adjustment score produces a certain set of things that show up in the way that you operate. Now, when you know those things, you can navigate around them, blah, blah, blah. And I'm gonna get to why the zombie apocalypse question got me. I'm getting there. I just
No,
want
no,
to make
no,
sure
no.
there's a
Do
lot of
your
context.
thing. Do your thing.
So I have a low adjustment score. Low adjustment scorers have, inside your adjustment is, there are these things, okay, that make up adjustment. So, like, I think, like, good attachment is in there, and trust
Hmm.
is in there. It's all these little things. I do not trust. I don't, like, have it. It, like, doesn't, it's not a thing I require. Okay.
Okay.
And so my adjustment score is very low, largely because my trust is very low. And very low to the point of, like, most people, and this was explained to me this way, most people experience trust as, oh, I give people trust until they destroy it, or people have to earn my trust. It's like a glass half full or half empty kind of thing. Like, oh, I'm going to give you, a half full glass and you can earn a full glass, or I'm going to give you an empty glass and you can, earn your way up, or I am going to give you a full glass and you can tear it down. I do not have a glass.
Mm.
There is no glass. What do you mean trust? I don't understand what you're expecting me to do. So,
The
because of that,
concept of it.
yeah, it's really tough for me. Really tough. And I am working on it and have worked on it. I am in a relationship that requires that you, to some degree, have to have some trust. And I am journeying on that. But one of the examples that was given to me about a zombie apocalypse, this is why I brought it back. When they were trying to explain to me, because I was like, well, what do you mean I don't have trust? Like, what is, everybody got some trust. Like, people trust me. And they're like, no, no, no. People trusting you is not the same thing.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I am trustworthy, meaning lots of people trust me. I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. But do I
yeah.
trust any of y'all is the question. Okay. And so the way it was explained to me was if there were a zombie apocalypse, you would be trying to make sure that you had everything. However, you would let the people near you know if they needed to come by, they could come by and rely on you. I don't have five people. I can't give you five people I'm going to have in a zombie apocalypse. I'm going to have everything. No, I'm going to have a solo stove. I'm going to have a way to make sure that we got clean water. I'm going to make sure that, if you got a favorite snack, I'm going to have it stashed away. So when you at the brink of a breakdown, I can pull it out for you. Like I'm going to have the things. Me choosing the people? Yeah, I can't really do that.
I think that was one of the best explanations. I once again, I'm trying to keep it tight with the discussion parts with your questions. I mean, with your responses. But man, because
I mean,
right there,
I had to answer you honestly. Like,
no,
you want me to pick
I
who's
love it.
chummy?
You know,
I'm
that's what
like,
this
oh
is.
yeah, no.
Once again, no wrong answers. All
Whoever
of them are
comes,
correct.
I'm ready for them.
But
I probably have the thing you need. My friends tease me and call my house grandma's house because they like I could just show up over there with nothing, drunk, nothing, and you gonna have underwear, sleeping clothes, toothbrush, toothpaste. That's me.
see, I battle with the duality of that.
Mm,
One, is no glass, or I'm glass high. Okay.
mm,
But who I have in that glass, who what I put in it is going to be potent. What's going to be
yeah,
once again completely filtered. And so when
yeah.
I answer that, it's like I got people I love. I got
Hmm.
people I respect.
I love and I respect.
And then even with trust, listen, only one person
Right?
well, definitely I gotta bring with me is wife, hand down, my wife.
Yeah,
But
yeah. See,
I
I'm not married.
I feel you, but when I'm saying this, but who would get me killed? Oh, it would be behind her. Every
Yeah.
time.
See?
Me, oh, I think I'm living until like God just send me home all that. But with her, oh yeah, it could be something.
Yeah.
She looked running a little late. She tripped.
Yeah.
Something go happen. But that's what I already know when I step into it, and it goes into my real life experiences too. Oh, it's having that support and having that. But if it's me, I be okay. But over boo, oh yeah, I'm.
See, so it sounds like you're like me. Like you are trustworthy.
Oh,
But when it comes to trusting, like that's a whole nother like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. I don't know about that. I trust me.
and let me tell you, and it's to the point where same thing we are talking about the internet. I'm like, why are y'all listening to me? Take advice from me online. Yeah, okay, and I'm like, I really y'all
You're
take advice from
trustworthy.
me than take advice from that person.
Correct. You are trustworthy, but you may not be trusting. So that is me. I have a low adjustment score. My adjustment score is a 4.
The
And
Hogan test.
and for the record, I've taken the Hogan assessment 10 years apart, and my adjustment score is still low.
I
It's
love it. I
still
love
low.
it. Okay. Thank you, Amber.
You're welcome.
This is a would you rather. Okay.
Okay.
Would you rather go back in time and speak to your younger self, or would you rather your future self come and talk to you now?
The latter.
Mm,
What's done is done. That story got me here. I'm grateful.
yeah, love it. Love it. The makings of you. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm good with that. I'm fine with everything that got me here. But what's coming though? You could warn me. I could prepare.
We locked in on that. We locked in on that. Okay. One of my favorite questions.
Okay.
If you can have any meal at the snap of your fingers, what would it be and who would prepare it for you?
Okay. I like to eat, dog. That's tough. So my friend Amy is the best cook I know.
Shout out to Amy.
Um, like in ways I don't just she grounds her own meat and all kind of shit that I just don't see regular
Oh,
people
she
be
like
doing. I
that.
know a lot of
Okay.
really amazing cooks for the record, but like Amy cooks very different. So she would be the person to prepare it. I'm a hella spontaneous person, so like what I would actually like if this were a real thing, what I would choose would probably be something completely different from this, but probably something that feels very nostalgic. So like, a good corned beef sandwich with, some Swiss and some mustard and some better made barbecue potato chips and a Fago red pop would be great right now.
You definitely
Um,
from the Midwest, but go ahead.
for sure. I also would really enjoy. I mean, she makes a fantastic bolognese. That would be, I would always eat that. Um, yeah, oysters, seafood. I don't know. I don't know. Lobster. Please run me a lobster tail any day. You can give me a lobster tail for breakfast. Like I'm here for that. So I just want to eat and it's delicious. And if Amy is cooking it, I don't care what it is. It could almost be Alpo. It's probably going to be delicious. So yeah.
Okay, Amy. Okay, she got
I
it
care
like
more about
that.
the cook at this point than I do about what's being prepared.
That's a real point of the question.
I
But
mean,
no, love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay, you have a biopic coming up.
I
Who
have
would you have play
a
you?
biopic coming up.
You have a
Okay.
biopic. Who would you have play you? Who would you want to co-direct it with you? And what network would you want? Would you want to be in the theater? Would you want it to be a mini series? And what network would pick it up?
Why are we making a movie about my life?
Why not?
Is that happening?
You
Okay.
know what you mean? You're Amber Cabral.
Who would I want to play me? I have no answers for any of these. I don't even watch enough TV to know actors and actresses for one. So, someone good.
Okay, someone good.
Um, yeah, I can't think of nobody specific that jumps out. Co-directing. Lost on that one too because I don't watch
And,
TV.
and, and that's okay.
And then what was the third one? Where would
What
I want it to
network?
play?
What
Oh, what
network?
network? I
I
feel like
could.
HBO.
What would it be rated? How about that? Like,
Oh, it
would
would
it be?
absolutely be rated R
Okay, okay. That's what I'm
for
saying.
sure.
Okay, okay.
I have lived life, honey. I've done it all. I'll be doing all the things. So yeah, it's gonna have to. You're gonna need some parental guidance along the journey for
That's what we're
sure.
talking about right there.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
spicy you gonna make it? How much we really gonna get into the
Oh, I mean,
biopic?
we
You
gonna
feel
tell
me?
the story. We gonna tell the whole thing. So
Already.
yeah,
Okay,
like
okay.
Usher said, if we gonna tell it, we gonna tell it all. Okay.
Have all been told already. But okay. But we got a few more questions before we let you go, Amber. We want to say we thank you so much for being here with us
This
for the
is
makings
fun.
of
Thank you for
you.
having me.
No, seriously, this we greatly appreciate it. And we gotta ask, how would you, well, let's say, I would say, how would you describe what changes do you want to see in your culture?
Mm. Man, that's a complicated question because of what I do for work. So, I would like Black folks to have more equitable access to
Mm,
rest and wellness. I
mm.
think it's starting to change. I think we're starting to get to the point where it's like, yo, I should not be tired all the time. Um, but I just feel like there's a part of me that wants to be like, I want us to, have more power and make better decisions. And I really feel like none of that can even happen until we do a better job of taking like really good care of ourselves. And so I would like for that to be the change. That like at some point we just kind of just be like, yo, you know what? I ain't slept enough this week. So no, I'm not gonna go hang out. I'm gonna go give me some rest and see if I can get myself together today. Like I would like us to like see the value in prioritizing our well-being. Because I think we are a moving people and a passionate people and a powerful people. And I think we will not ever be able to tap into that in the most meaningful way until we learn to rest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When did you realize you were different?
shit, I feel like I'm still realizing it. I stay being like, oh, I'm just a regular, normal little black girl from Detroit. My boyfriend literally gave me a full lecture yesterday about how I am not like other people and was like, you need to understand that you're not like other people because I think you're like other people. So I feel like that's a constant revelation to me. I feel like we're all walking around in our respective containers just trying to make it through.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am different. And I'm different in some interesting ways and ways that don't always seem obvious to me, but it's a real thing. I'm definitely different for real. And that difference like is beneficial. It serves like, both me from a personal standpoint, but like culturally it's a benefit. Like, and I do try to make sure that I use it, but like, yeah, I feel like all the time I uncover like, oh shit, I'm unique that way, huh? Okay. Thanks
Absolutely.
for telling me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm.
Good questions.
Thank you. Thank
These
you.
are
We got
good.
we got legit a couple more.
Okay. I mean, I'm not, listen, I'm here for it. I
But
can't say anyone's asked me such good questions in a while.
but that's what we do here with the Makings of You with Everything Culture.
I'm
You
with
know,
it. I love it. This is
this is
great.
just the start of everything. You know, how would you want people to remember you, Amber?
Um, I want people to remember me as generous. I want people to remember me as always eager to make an impact. Um, I want people to remember that I was willing to take chances. And baby, I'm gonna take some more for the record before I'm up out of here. So if you don't remember now, hopefully there will be some on the journey. But yeah, like I actually took the time to build my estate plan
Mhm.
last year after I lost my dad at the top of 23. And so I spent a good amount of 24 making sure that like my own affairs were in order because I understood after going through a year of that like, yo, you should have a plan. But to that end, you get to plan like how people celebrate you and how they remember you. And like I've been a bit intentional about that. And so it will indeed be a celebration. And that hopefully will include people remembering, you know, I want people to remember me for the impacts that I made and the work that I did and the way that it made them feel. That's what I want.
Love it. Love it.
I ain't got no kids, so hopefully other people kids remember. So
Hey,
there's that.
you'll be surprised who you touch and the
Yeah.
impact you leave on others. And we thank you for that.
Yeah, thank
And it's so
you.
unique how almost every question you kind of hit on the next one. But
Mm.
how can we support you? How could the
Oh,
Everything
wow.
culture, so community, your community, everyone who's watching or listening to this episode, all about you, support you?
Um, all right, I have a couple good answers for that. So the first thing is, in terms of supporting me, I think the thing that everybody can afford to do is to be just a little bit less judgmental. Um, I am in the process, as I mentioned, of not being, um, bound, I guess would be the best word, by stress and anxiety. And one of the things that is uncovered for me is like how much shame we carry. And so I have uncovered my own, like, moments of shame where I'm like, yo, I don't want that. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want that. And I would like to have less shame. And I think for that to happen, it would be really great if people had less judgment.
Mhm.
I recently shaved my head. I'm thin at the top. I actually really love it a lot, but like I spent a good couple weeks trying to figure out like what perfection looked like.
Mhm.
And there isn't a perfection option in
Mhm.
this new, format. And so, and I realized that some of that searching for perfection was wrapped up in shame, which is connected to fear of judgment. So I would like, if you want to support me, I would like you to be just less judgmental in your own life. That's number one. Number two, if you want to support me in a more direct way, if you happen to be leading an organization or connected to or a part of an organization that needs to be more resilient, needs to be more equitable, needs to do better at being more effective at communicating, needs to create a more inclusive environment. That's the work I do professionally. So I would love for you to tap in and reach out to me. You can do that at ambercabral.com and, see if is an opportunity for us to work together. So that's a way you could probably support me in me and my team in a more direct way. And then third, hmm. Well, we don't know what social media platform is going to exist after this, but if it's one that you enjoy and I'm out there, please feel free to follow and hit me up and say what's up. That would be it.
Oh, thank you, Amber. You've done it. You've did it. You completed the makings of
Woo!
you with
I gotta ring
everything
the bell.
culture. I mean, for real. Hey, it's a gauntlet. And you once again, you always touch on the next question, and it was going to follow up. If the people are looking for you and you're trying to be found, where can the
Yeah.
people find you?
Ambercabral.com is a good place, in case they decide to snatch all our stuff from us everywhere.
Be
They can
mindful.
always go to my own website. So there's that. I am Bam Cabral on almost all social media. That's BAMCABRAL. On any of the engagement platforms, that's going to be my name. And then if you are looking for professional me, you can find me on LinkedIn under my actual name, Amber Cabral.
All right. All right. And the last neat question that I occasionally forget.
Mhm.
Who would you like to see in this seat? Who would you like to hear on the makings of you in the future? Do you have a recommendation?
Hmm. Okay. I'm
Something you think?
processing.
No, it's
I
right.
got a
You're
couple
fine.
answers. I'm working my way there. Um, I I would love to hear what a couple of my friends would say, honestly. Like there's a few people that come to mind, but I'm gonna give you Germany. Germany is my stylist, actually. Her name is Germany G, style by a G. Um,
Germany G.
yeah, I think she would give some good answers here. Um, yeah. Trying to think if it's
Okay.
anybody else I can think of like that I would be like, I wonder what they would say.
I would definitely be looking up
Look back
Germany
and
as well.
no, but Germany is a good option.
Okay, 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 okay. Most definitely. But for real, this has been an absolute pleasure. We've enjoyed getting to know so much more about you. Thank you for being transparent and authentic with us.
Yes.
Like, it takes a lot to do this. So,
Yeah, I was a little nervous
but
and I
but
made
you
it.
you knocked it out though. I mean, like boom bop bing, okay?
This was good.
But, to our audience and to all of our listeners and viewers, we want to say thank y'all so much for being here again. Amber is our first guest for 2025. We have a lot more going on, that we want to shoot a huge shout out to once again. Um, Everyone who's been a part of Leadership Unlocked. Thank you for Jesse for bringing us together. We greatly appreciate that. But as always, if you're looking for us, Everything Culture, it's a A, not a I. Okay, we're very Southern still. Got to respect the culture. But you can find us anywhere you type in Everything Culture, from Spotify, Apple, YouTube, to TikTok. See how that goes with Facebook, or you're just gonna go to everythingculture.com. We greatly appreciate the support, the love, and yeah, we hope to talk to y'all soon and be great. And make sure to follow Amber and support her in all the ways she requested. All right, y'all have a great one. Peace.
Thank you.